The Mario Kart series is famous for its racing mode, which makes complete sense as it is a racing game after all. However, that's far from the only content in the series, as every Mario Kart game has also come packaged with the battle mode and several battle courses. Well, the original Mario Kart 8 just used racetracks, but whatever. The battle mode provides for a new way to play, though the rules generally vary between each of the modes. In Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, there are 5 battle modes, being Balloon Battle, Renegade Roundup, Bob-omb Blast, Coin Runners, and Shine Thief, along with 8 battle courses, being Battle Stadium, Sweet Sweet Kingdom, Dragon Palace, Lunar Colony, Wuhu Town, Luigi's Mansion, Battle Course 1, and Urchin Underpass. After playing this battle mode for several years, there are clearly certain courses that are better than others. So today, I thought it would be fun to rank all 8 battle courses from the worst to the best. But there's a problem. See, like I mentioned, there are 5 different battle modes, each of which play quite differently. Sure, some are similar, like Balloon Battle and Bob-omb Blast, but even then, I find that certain courses are better for one of those modes than the other. So what am I gonna do to solve this problem? Well, this video is gonna be a bit of a wacky one, because instead of 1 ranking, you're getting 5. See, I'm gonna do an individual ranking for each battle mode, and then at the end of the video, I'm gonna take the average scores and see which is the best battle track overall. It felt weird to me to just try and make one ranking since most of these modes are so wildly different, so hopefully this approach will make more sense. So if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and let's jump right into the balloon battle ranking. You know what's funny? Despite how different all these battle modes play, all of them share the exact same last place course except for this one. I guess Balloon Battle just decided to be a bit silly. So last place for Balloon Battle, in my opinion, belongs to Lunar Colony. This has a few issues for me that make it not quite as fun in this mode. For starters, there are several one-way paths, or in other words, places that you can only get to from one side and can't turn around in. I personally don't really like this much in Balloon Battle. It makes the map feel far too segmented, and I'd rather keep the chaos close together. The map is also quite big, which can lead to a lot of people getting separated, which as I mentioned makes this mode a bit more boring. Now there is a course that does most of these things worse, so why is Lunar Colony in last place? Well, it has to do with these bumps on the surface and the low gravity. In my opinion, both of these things make it more difficult to actually hit people on the course. The bumps can make throwing items more difficult, and the low gravity makes movement a bit weirder as well. I'm aware this is pretty much just hating this course because it's different, but I find the normal physics to just work better with battle mode. I could see this being a pretty controversial choice, and I'm sure I've already been bullied for not being able to hit people in low gravity in the comments, but I do think this earns last place. Oh, also aesthetics are not relevant at all in this video, but I do like how all of the courses look and sound. 7. Battle Stadium. Ah, here's the loser. Yeah, spoilers, this guy's in last place for the rest of the video. But why is that? Well, to put it simply, this course is way too big. The others keep the racers pretty close together, which leads to much more exciting battle matches. Here though, the map is so expansive that it's common to not see anyone for a decent chunk of time. There's not really much I can say this does poorly specifically in terms of Balloon Battle, since the size issue pretty much carries over to every battle mode. I guess I can say that the anti-gravity segment dropping you down onto the normal segment is a little cool, but yeah, this map is just far too big. 6. Urchin Underpass. This is a somewhat similar problem that Lunar Colony did, with many portions of the map being closed off from one another and also being one-way paths. This certainly does a better job when it comes to keeping people centralized, but there are still several places that are a bit far removed from one another. 5. Sweet Sweet Kingdom. This is a definite step up from the bottom 3. It's hard to explain why I think this one is up next, but I've always just been sort of meh on this course in general. Maybe it's because I think Sweet Sweet Canyon is a mid-racetrack, but regardless, I do think this keeps people closer than the last 3. It's much harder to get left alone by yourself on this map, so I think playing Balloon Battle here is more than acceptable. 4. Wuhu Town. While this map is quite big, it has 2 things I like about it. 1, a big central area where a lot of people can cross paths and chuck in a ton of items, and 2, the rest of the map are really skinny streets. These cramped spaces are perfect for hitting people with items. Really the only issue is its size, as people could definitely get left alone here sometimes, but I still think this is a lot of fun to play on. 3. Luigi's Mansion. This has a lot of very similar strengths as our last one. For 1, the main floor acts as a big open area to just chuck a bunch of items at your opponents. 2, the staircases and bottom floor act as skinny pathways that can get people closer together for item strikes. On top of that, I think this map is a pretty good size, not being too big like our last one. However, if I did have to complain, it'd be about the top floor. I just never really liked the inclusion of it. People can easily hide up here, and it really doesn't have a great place in most of the modes. I usually forget it's even there, and I think the map would honestly be better without it. I'm not sure if people agree with me on that, but it just feels like a spot to camp, rather than the one gameplay can actually take place on. Still, it's not a big enough problem to ruin these maps, so it's still very good. 2. Dragon Palace. If we look at our last 2 maps before this, we'll see exactly why I like this one so much. A big open area and skinny pathways. In fact, this map has 2 large open areas with the inside of the palace and the outside. They both work very well, and moving between them is satisfying as well. There are a number of ways to go about it, being through the floor or near the roof. If I were to have a problem with this course though, it would probably be these 2 pathways at the side. They aren't bad, it's just I don't find that much happens on them. Jumping down from the top of the palace to snipe someone is always a blast. Really, I am a big fan of this course. But far, best balloon battle course is easily Battle Course 1. I just think the simple courses work incredibly well. It's got a big open area and several skinny pathways, exactly what I like for this mode. I also really like the boost panels and glider ramps to give you both some escape options and new opportunities to attack people down below. Also, I may be wrong about this, but I believe this is the smallest battle course as well, meaning the chaos stays constant and is nearly unavoidable. You can sort of camp near the ramps, though it's much harder to do than on some of the other courses. I also have to say I love being able to throw things over the walls. It just adds a nice bit of fun to the course on top of it already being great. I'm pretty sure most people agree with me on this, but even if not, I think Battle Course 1 is by far the best for balloon mode. Alright, now it's on to what is likely our most different battle mode of the bunch, the brand new Renegade Roundup. This is a team-based mode where 6 players with piranha plants have to try and catch 6 renegades. Those renegades have to win by having at least one person still free by the time the timer expires, and they can free other renegades by going under the cage. A massive thing to consider for this mode are the placements of the cages, as much of the game does revolve around them. Generally, I like cages to be placed in spots that are well balanced for both teams, giving the renegades plenty of places to open them and cops plenty of ways to defend them. So with that said, last place is Battle Stadium. Map is still just too big, and considering the Renegade's icon will disappear if no cops are nearby, that means they could fairly easily just go into hiding without ever being found. That means that the cage placement on this map is almost irrelevant, as it's just way too easy for the Renegades to hide on here, so I'm really not a fan. 7. Lunar Colony. The problem with this does actually come down to the cage placement, as for some reason it's only on the right side of the map. I would have much rather had a cage on both sides, but this makes it feel kind of weird because the entire left side is almost pointless. The map isn't big enough to just go hiding forever though, so it leads to a match that has most people focus on one side, then a few stragglers at the left, which I would rather go without. 6. Battle Course 1. This is by far this course's worst battle mode, and it's for one simple reason. This is the only battle course to only have one cage. Now that doesn't necessarily make this bad. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if this is someone's favorite for that very reason. I just don't really like there only being one cage to go after, as it makes matches here a bit less interesting since you will always know where a renegade will want to be going. Now to be fair, this cage is by far the most open out of any, making it surprisingly less difficult for the renegade to unlock it, but I still prefer having a larger number of cages. 5. Urchin Underpass. This one works alright. I mean, I really don't have any strong opinions on it, same with 4. Sweet Sweet Kingdom. They're both the most okay courses to play on in this mode. Decent size, decent cage placements, but I can't really think of much else to say. 3. Luigi's Mansion. This is where the courses really start to ramp up. Of course, you have the several skinny pathways, which work well in this mode as they lead to great chasing scenarios. The cage placements are also really good, having one on the main floor and another in the basement. The basement one in particular I really like, as there are several paths to reach it, but they're all quite cramped, making it still difficult to avoid getting chomped by a piranha plant. If I did have to give a criticism though, it'd once again be the top floor. I think it acts as a lame camping spot for renegades and can even lead to sort of easy access to the main floor cage. Still, this is certainly a fun one to play on. 2. Dragon Palace. This course is one of the few to get 3 whole cages, 2 on the outside and 1 on the inside's upper floor. I think having 2 cages on the outside here works well with the open area, as it will split up renegades and force them to choose which of the cages to get. I also like the placement of the one on the upper floor as well, as it forces renegades to go into the center first before going up the ramps. Those ramps also act as skinny pathways, which leads to the cages being somewhat difficult to nab. I think this course works very well, and I can't really come up with any complaints. Yeah, people can sort of camp in the left and right hallways, but it's not as effective as the roof camping spot in Luigi's Mansion, so I don't find this to be much of an issue. But my go-to Renegade Roundup course is definitely Wuhu Town. The cage placements here are perfect, one at the top section and another at the bottom. The top section has several pathways for the renegades, but they're once again quite narrow, which means some tricky maneuvers are required to get around the cops. The bottom cage is a similar dilemma, with there being several skinny pathways leading to it. In fact, since this course is mostly made up of skinny pathways, trying to escape the cops here is always a ton of fun. Even the open area works quite well, since the cops will usually be swarming here to try and protect the cage at the top. The size also leads to several available routes to avoid the cops, but it's not unfair for them, as again, it can be easy to hit people within these passages. So yeah, anytime I play Renegade Roundup, this is 100% the course I decide to pick. Bob-omb Blast time. This is the exact same as Balloon Battle, but this time the only items are bob-ombs. The bob-ombs also have some special properties, like not being able to damage the person who threw it, and going farther the longer you hold the button, but who cares about that? Explosions! The worst is 8, Battle Stadium. It's too big, who could have seen that coming? I will say it's not as bad as it is in Balloon Battle since the bob-ombs have a bigger range, but it's still definitely the worst. 7, Urchin Underpass. It's low for a similar reason as it is in Balloon Battle. The segmented design just makes it far less chaotic than the other maps. 6, Lunar Colony. This definitely got the biggest upgrade between Balloon Battle and Bob-omb Blast. Since the explosions are much bigger, the wonky physics aren't much of a problem here. In fact, it's actually quite a lot of fun to just run through the center and drop a lot of bombs. This suffers from the same problem the last track did though, with the interior portion feeling just a bit too separate. 5. Sweet Sweet Kingdom. It works and I have absolutely nothing else to say about it. 4. Wuhu Town. This has the exact same strengths and weaknesses that it did in battle mode. The layout is great, but I just think it's a bit too big. 3. Dragon Palace. Same strengths as the last one, but the smaller open areas serve this one much better. I also like being able to snipe people from above. 2. Luigi's Mansion. Bob-omb Blast is definitely the battle mode that I think best utilizes the upper floor, as it leads to a fun spot to snipe people from above. Yeah, this can be done in balloon battles as well, but it's not nearly as effective. Getting down can also be quite dangerous since the center is likely to be full of exploding bombs, so the camping problem is mostly a non-issue here. Add on its other narrow pathways and large open area strengths, and you have a really good course for this mode. But the best, once again, has to be Battle Course 1. Not only do all of the strengths from its balloon battle iteration apply, but many of them are made even stronger in this mode. Being able to throw bombs over the wall to people on the other side is phenomenal. It really makes it feel like nowhere is safe on this course. Running through the center while laying down a large line of bombs is always a blast as well. And of course, being able to use the glider ramp to drop bombs down on people feels fantastic as well. I think this course was made for this mode. Okay, well obviously it wasn't since this predates Bob-omb Blast by several years, but come on, it just works so well. You know what doesn't work well? Coin Runners sucks. I don't think this is anyone's favorite battle mode. Actually, I like it quite a bit. I think it's pretty good. Yeah, so since I don't really like this battle mode to begin with, I can't really tell you what I'm looking for in a battle course for it. So if this ranking seems kind of random, it's because it's mostly just a gut feeling. 8. Battle Stadium, too big. Shocker. 7. Sweet Sweet Kingdom. This course does a lot of what I call double coins, where it has 2 coins next to each other and the player has to slowly turn to collect them all. It's just not that fun to do, so I'd rather play on another course. 6. Urchin Underpass. The segmented design is lame and the coin placements aren't great either, as it has a decent number of double coins. Oh yeah, I guess I should mention that the coins look different on this stage since it's meant to replicate Splatoon. Like I said, aesthetics aren't considered, but I just thought that was a cool detail. 5. Dragon Palace, and 4. Luigi's Mansion. Not really sure what to say, but they work pretty okay for this mode. 3. Lunar Colony. This is by far this course's best placement in any ranking. The coins being in the mini craters does actually make them decently fun to collect. The center coins also have a good risk reward when it comes to collecting them. Again, I'm not a huge fan of this course's general layout, but the moon does actually work pretty solid for this mode. 2. Wuhu Town. The pathways each generally have a single coin, making there plenty to collect. The center is also fun to try and jump and get the coins in. While there are a few double coins, the layout here is for the most part pretty good. And number 1, for the 3rd time, is Battle Course 1. I think it's got the best coin layout, and maneuvering through it is simple but fun. Alright, sorry the Coin Runner segment had like no details, I just don't really like playing this mode. And finally, we have Shine Thief, an actually good battle mode. This is another one that acts quite different from the rest, where the goal is to hold onto a shine for 20 seconds. If you get hit, you lose it, but the time you held onto it is retained. Now this mode does have some pretty interesting things to consider when it comes to ranking, most importantly being the shine spawn. We'll get to that when we get there, but to start us off, we have 8. Battle Stadium. Big. 7. Lunar Colony. The low gravity, like I said earlier, leads to hitting people becoming a bit more difficult. You can sort of just hover over a lot of things, and that makes holding onto the shine a bit easier. This is also the only course I lost in when I was getting footage, so I'm totally not salty at all. I do want to say that pretty much every course but Battle Stadium do work pretty well in this mode. Just because this got number 7 here doesn't mean it's bad. 6. Sweet Sweet Kingdom. Just like every other time this course has appeared, it's just okay. Sorry I never had any detailed notes on this course, but I just really have no strong feelings on it one way or the other. 5. Urchin Underpass. This is definitely the best mode for this course, as the segmented design actually works fairly well considering this mode is all about chasing one person. The several skinny pathways work to give some tight chase scenarios. While I would prefer to have 2-way paths to make people coming from the other side possible, this layout does work decently for this mode. However, I do have to say it's hurt quite a bit from the shine spawn. It's always super close to someone and super far away for others, meaning certain players can be at a massive disadvantage for no fault of their own. 4. Luigi's Mansion. This is basically what I wanted from Urchin Underpass, 2-way pathways that can let people come in from all sides. The roof portion of this course also works pretty well this time around, since camping in this mode is the worst thing you can do, so it basically just acts as another path. The main problem here though is the shine spawn, since it's basically inaccessible to certain players from the start based on the floor it's on. 3. Wuhu Town. I love this course in this mode for the simple reason that there are just so many different pathways. It gives a lot of different options for the person with the shine to go. The pathways are still quite narrow, so it's difficult to hold on to the shine for long. Really, I don't think I have any problems with this course, I just like the next two a bit better. 2. Battle Course 1. Not only do I think the simple layout works here, but I gotta say, I love driving up on the walls when I have the shine. It can be difficult to stay on top of, and you can drop off to any side you want, making this my favorite way to try and shake people off my back. The ramp areas also act as good spots to catch people with the shine and then make a big escape for a few seconds. The only thing holding this back is that some people get better luck with the shine spawn, but otherwise this is pretty great. 1. Dragon Palace. Simply put, this is by far the best shine spawn. While not technically exactly equal from all racers, this is about as close as you can get. Everyone starts outside and they have to ride into the palace to collect it. I just like having everyone burst in at the start. It's a really fun idea and use of the course. It wouldn't be number 1 if it weren't fun to play on though, and man does this deliver. The open areas make it hard to avoid people for very long, and the skinny pathways between them make it pretty easy to get hit. So I think for both its layouts and its shine spawn, I have to give it number 1 for the best Shine Thief course. But with those rankings finally out of the way, what's the average? To get this, I just added all 5 of their placings together and then divided them by 5. For the 6-year-olds in the audience, that's how averages work. The lowest number is the best and the highest number is the worst. So 8, with an abysmal score of 7.8, we have Battle Stadium. I'm absolutely not surprised, it's just far too big, so it gets to have the biggest number here too. 7, with an average of 6.2, Lunar Colony. I've always been sort of negative toward this course, so that makes sense for me as well. 6, with an average of 5.8, Urchin Underpass. Definitely a bit better than the last one overall, but I think it's just kind of mid. Just barely edging it out is 5, with an average of 5.4, being Sweet Sweet Kingdom. Again, I always just thought this was mid. The last 4 courses are all major steps up though. 4, with an average of 3.2, is Luigi's Mansion. This one works pretty well in all battle modes. I'd say it's probably the most consistent of the bunch. 3, with an average of 2.8, is Wuhu Town. I was actually a bit surprised this was at number 3 instead of number 2, but looking back it does make sense. I think my previous self was just being influenced by how much better I think this course is in Renegade Roundup compared to the rest. 2, with an average of 2.6, is Dragon Palace. This is also consistently very good in every mode. I've always liked this course. And number 1, with an average of 2.2, is Battle Course 1. What can I say? I just really love the simplicity here. I knew this was going to be my favorite as it's always my go-to online. While it being sort of mid on Renegade Roundup did hurt it, it's still more than obvious that this is the best battle course in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. But anyways, that's it for this video. Do you all think there will be DLC battle courses and hate me for not adding them to this ranking despite them not being announced yet? Let me know in the comments. Sorry if this video did get a bit repetitive, but I thought this would be a fun and unique way to do a ranking that I've never really tried before. Hopefully it was still entertaining throughout. But anyways, dry bones for Smash, and I'll see you guys next time.